So bad. Let's go on the offensive here. Try to build an attack. Losing on time. That's great. Yeah, great lag. And apparently there won't be a match. JannLee wants to play some 1-0 crazy house. Well, I'm a bit drunk, and I probably won't stand a chance, but what the hell. So we'll be playing until 264brocc shows up. So it does have some pressure here on the dark squares. I don't like it at all. It was probably a mistake by me too. It has a knight also. That's bad for me. Bad news. Bad news and bad play. Yeah, I'm just losing this outright. I need to give my queen, and there's absolutely no compensation. In fact, I'm getting mated. And why did I take with the queen there? Oh, never mind. Okay, let's pick up a free pawn there. So d3 is under fire. Let's block the d file. I'm just too slow. I was slipping the last 10 moves or so. So, good games. They are here and ready to play. And we'll be following JannLee. And I was clearly winning there. In the end, I was just slipping and slipping and slipping. Mate in 8. Yeah, I know. How can I slip this? Yeah, mate in 2. Oh well. Let's hope JannLee plays better than that in this game. JannLee playing white. I need to follow him as well. So JannLee playing white here. I expect JannLee to win this match. He's the ELO favorite. But as you can see, 264brocc has won about a third of their games. So I predict maybe 7-3 in favor of JannLee in this match. I'm sure we'll see a lot of interesting games anyway. They will be playing 10 games regardless of the outcome in the games, and JannLee plays e4. Off they go. So 264brocc thinking there a little bit. Maybe just getting ready. I'm sure he has prepared something. And JannLee just likes to develop his pieces and play some and make use of his extra space. And I wouldn't know how to jump into a voice channel actually. I wonder how to do that. So JannLee is thinking a little bit here. Voice channel on Crazy House. Where do I... Is it the house party channel or where do I click? Let's follow this game first. So black is throwing everything at the white king right now. And the bishop that is defending h2 is in a bit of... it has some problems. Surely knight f3 now. Attacking h4 and protecting h2. Yes, I do have Discord. Let's try Bughouse 1. Bughouse 1. Is it Bughouse Team 1? Use house party. Okay, I'll try house party then. Let's see how this works. And where is even house party? Okay, are you there?
Yep, I'm here. Let me mute the stream so I don't cause feedback.
Yeah, okay.
Back. The big question is if the Twitch viewers can hear me. It will take a minute to find out because I think you have a minute delay on the Twitch stream. Right?
Oh, is it a whole minute? I didn't know. Well, good to have you here anyway.
Yeah, nice to talk to you. And in your honor, I also brought out my 30-year-old cow Ela for this, or Isle of Cathay as it's called.
Oh, that's just terrific. I was out playing JannLee here in the short.
I saw the 1-0. You had the clear win.
Yeah.
The opening you play is really good for 1-0. I think it's hard to break it down for black.
Yeah, and I also noticed, maybe I shouldn't mention this, but I noticed that JannLee doesn't have a very aggressive approach against that opening. Maybe he's saving it for later.
Yeah, I'm not making sure not to reveal anything for the candidates, so no one plays it against him. Apparently they can hear me as well on the stream, so
yeah, perfect.
Okay, so this position.
Yep.
There are a lot of holes in black's position, but I guess the pawn on e4 is really strong.
Yeah, I'm thinking white is threatening to take the knight on g4 and fork on f6 maybe. So
yeah, possibly.
Yeah, I'm not sure what black should play here.
I mean, you could always play bishop at f5, but it feels a bit... Maybe there's something more direct.
Yeah. So this is always something you have to be careful about. And also, white could, I suppose, just kick around the queen and...
But he doesn't have so many pieces to kick around the queen with. You can always, like, if you start doing that too much, you can usually give the queen in a good spot. The real big question is what Cabbage is supposed to play now. For those wondering why we call him Cabbage, then 264brocc is also known as Cabbage.
Yeah, he has this thing for vegetables, I think. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. Hi, everybody. This is Gnace and also zyxon speaking. So I hope you'll enjoy our little live stream here. So what's happening now? I'm sure he won't be taking on f4 because of knight h3 check, and then white is getting mated.
And play king g2, king g3, but it seems awfully risky. At some point you just play bishop at g5 as black, and the white king is stuck in front of the white pieces. So probably you go like bishop at g2 here.
Yeah, probably bishop g2.
Big question is if you should play...
Oh, he does take the queen.
First. If you're going to do that, you should have started with knight at g7 check, because it's good to have the extra...
Yeah, the knight here will be covering some useful squares. And this just looks dangerous. Because...
yeah, but this is the best... If this is black's best option, then maybe it's not so.
But I mean, the black king has a safe square here on d8. So at some point, black could play a slow move just to strengthen the attack. Can he just pick up the queen, or does white have anything?
Yeah, surely that's the only move. If you don't pick up the queen, it must be. You can play knight h3, pawn at g2, and take f4 possibly.
Yeah, do like this, drop a pawn here and take with check. That's probably what he's thinking about. Should he take the queen, or... And he prefers to check immediately.
Yeah, I think maybe king g1 was a bit unnecessary. King g2 would have forced him to take the queen. This is maybe not.
So black does have a strong attack here.
But if there's no mate, then bishop at e3 here is really dangerous if white doesn't have a mate.
Yeah. So using the rook also. What about bishop e3 here? Because then you can pick up the whatever he puts on f2.
Mm-hmm. And then rook at g2 forces king f1, and then you put the bishop on e2 and you take the queen. So if there's no mate for white at that point,
yeah, this looks super dangerous here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you play rook knight h3 or do you?
Oh, you take on f2. This I think is a mistake, or well, mistake. You know, you can always repeat here. Oh, this is surprising. Okay.
Because black has bishop h3, maybe.
Yeah, I think he's gonna have to play it now and take the queen.
Yeah.
Ooh, surely you cannot.
Oh, this is dangerous. Dangerous stuff.
Maybe it's playable, yeah. Maybe there's no... Because this, well... This must be... I mean, king h3... Okay, but this is mate. This was...
Yeah.
This is not how you defend this. Okay, it's hard with increment, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, it was the same in the... They faced each other in one of the later rounds of the qualifying, and JannLee had big problems dealing with...
Yeah, I remember. I didn't see the match, but I think he was down. How much was it down?
I think it was 7-5. They actually went 5-5, and then JannLee managed to win the tiebreaker, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So it's not a big surprise that 264brocc wins a game here and there. And he just went forward there.
Yeah.
Just kept on attacking.
Winning the first game with black is a big deal in these matches because you put so much pressure on the opponent.
Yeah.
Now JannLee is a very, very mentally strong player, so he's perhaps not so greatly affected by it. Even JannLee doesn't like to lose the first game with white.
So a conservative setup here by both players. We can expect a long positional struggle.
I'm surprised there's no d4, g3 fianchetto here. Cabbage is definitely one of the main proponents of the fianchetto systems.
Yeah, and actually I think he made a mistake there against Katask because he insisted on entering these rather positional lines where he was completely outplayed by Katask, and I think JannLee is a much stronger positional player also than 264brocc. He should go on the attack, I think.
Yeah.
So the bishop on h6 is eyeing the pawn on e3. Do we expect maybe bishop f4 or?
Yeah, I mean, surely that's the move here.
Yeah, you cannot allow...
You can get a piece with g5, but is that really worth it? I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
But JannLee does this sometimes. He opens up his king to win a piece, relying on his fantastic defensive abilities.
Yeah.
But I don't expect it here. I expect bishop at f4, bishop takes f4.
It took a while though.
Mm-hmm.
So JannLee gaining some time. But white looks solid enough here.
Mm-hmm.
And this move maybe just making sure white won't be playing knight e5.
Yeah.
And it's usually wise, I think, to put your pieces on the board. Just to increase the board control. And just to make sure that the pieces won't be waiting in line in vain. You need to put the pieces on the board continually.
This is a surprising decision. Now knight d5 is... I don't see a really good place to put the bishops if you trade. There's knight e5 and you trade twice on e2. I don't really see constructive plays for your bishops with black. Maybe
this was preparing knight e5, and black has just abandoned e5, so knight e5 looks reasonable.
This I don't know, because I'm starting to feel knight g6, knight takes f4, pawn at e3.
Yeah, the rook e1 move, it weakens the dark squares, so sometimes you can put something on e3, or maybe grab the pawn on g3 and get a nice attack.
Especially if you can play c5, trade on d4, and then just put the pawn there without having...
pawn e3, yeah. And then you would need to have the rook on f1, covering f2.
Yeah, maybe he's planning knight f1. Oh yeah, there it is.
Okay, so this protects the g3 and e3 squares. And black does want a pawn anyway. So now...
Yeah, I think he's switching to the white squares now with pawn at h3 if he gets the chance.
Yeah, pawn e4 was the threat, maybe.
Here comes the trade. And this is what I was talking about earlier. There's no really good squares for the bishop. I guess bishop at a6 is a move.
Yeah, long distance bishop here. Maybe you should trade the knight on f1. Because the knight on f1 is actually a nice defender.
Yeah, but I think you do go bishop at d3 here, and if bishop takes d3 and knight takes d3...
Yeah, you take back with the knight, yeah.
Then again, you could pin the knight, and then you could get a rook and a piece for the queen, and I'm not sure who's favored there. Difficult position. White is running low on time. Okay, now you should take f1 for sure, right?
Yeah, for sure. Take the knight, and white does look a bit weak here.
I just knight at e4, pawn at e3.
Yeah, a knight on e4 eyeing the queen and also threatening g3. But this is also possible. I wonder if you play knight e4, yeah. And you want to pick up the pawn somehow. Also e3 is hanging. The black attack just looks too strong here, I think. So white quickly gives up a queen, hoping to build up some sort of defense, but
this is not terrible.
Black wants the pawn here for e2. He has a couple of heavies in hand.
The question, how close are we to a knight at h6 stuff here?
Yeah.
I guess white needs another knight or a heavy, yeah.
I was thinking black should have taken with a rook on c3 and got the pawn instead, but who knows?
No, but rook here is dangerous because there was knight at h6, knight at f6 stuff going on.
So this rook move wasn't only planning attacking schemes, but it was also defending the h6 square that zyxon was mentioning, because all of a sudden a knight might land here, and if black takes, you have knight f6 and all sorts of tricks, and if the king moves, you had knight takes f7. So this is both an attacking move and a defensive move. Sometimes you can pick up the knight here on e5.
Yeah, I think knight rook takes e5 immediately was the move. This is a mistake though, that bishop should be on d3, because now queen at e1 is threatening the e2 bishop. So that's bishop at e2 is not where that bishop belongs. But okay, that's a missed opportunity from JannLee. He's still in good shape here. So but he's also starting to run low on the time now.
Yeah.
So can you take on h5 now? Is that too greedy? Probably it's too greedy.
But now you can take on h5 for sure.
Yeah,
that's an impressive h5 defense what is set up here.
Yeah. Yeah, this is looking cabbage favored now. He managed to turn this around. Impressive. But okay, JannLee is full of tricks, as always.
Yeah, JannLee changing gears here, just blitzing out his moves.
I think this is what separates the top three from the rest of us. They are so incredibly good when they're down to the increment.
Yeah.
And by top three, I mean Katask, Pervason, and JannLee. They're incredible at playing with just the increment, keeping the quality up. I feel like none of the rest of us can maintain.
So now either E3 or G3 will be...
F4 is a mistake. Not sure how he's gonna... I mean, he has to take this one, I think.
And then maybe take G3 instead. The H1 square is open for attack.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't work, right? Pawn at H2, take F1, pawn at G3, and just invade.
Yeah. So clearing the G3 square for a pawn, and now...
Maybe you can go to... Oh, that's better. That's nice. Yeah, I was going to say, if you go queen H4, you can maybe run to F3, but this...
Just picking up a bunch of pieces here. A lot of ways to finish this. JannLee just being materialistic, not bothering to count anything. And this is just over.
Yeah,
so it's
interesting. 264brocc turned around that game, but then he made one mistake with the low time with F4, and instantly it's over.
Yeah. Let's see where the game actually turned, because this is super good for black. But at one point, White managed to bring all his pieces around the king, and maybe it's good for black anyway, I'm not sure.
Maybe it is, but it felt like the direction of the game, the tempo of the game was shifting, the momentum was shifting towards Cambridge.
Absolutely.
Then F4 came, and the game's instantly over in one move. It's interesting.
Yeah. Looks like JannLee was in control the whole game, but they were down to the last 10 seconds, so... And here we see the same line that Katask used, I think. The check on B5, provoking C6. And Katask did really well here against 264brocc in this line.
I haven't checked out those games. I wonder if Katask really allowed trade of the black square bishop for a knight. It seems like... Doesn't seem like the trade you want when the black squares are weak.
No, you're right. That's probably something White should avoid. Hi there, Slim K Slomk. Slim Slomk. Whoever you are. So this seems like a nice little advantage for White, though. At some point, maybe you either play e4 or you bring this knight over to the king's side. But Black has managed to trade his passive bishop. He doesn't have any apparent weaknesses, so Black cannot be that bad, I suppose.
No, but he's a little bit passive with the...
Yeah, White has the e4 square under control, so it's hard for Black to get in any counterplay here. So what do you do? Do you take on f4 or what do you do?
You almost have to, right? I mean, all my instincts say take on f4 and then
take
put the knight on g6.
Yeah.
But
because splitting those white pawns gives Black something to play for. Obviously, you cannot allow White taking on h6. So immediately Black attacks these two pawns.
Although, I wonder if White goes passive here with bishop at e3, do you take the b2 pawn? I guess you do.
I think I would.
Which means that it's probably time for White to do something aggressive here. Bishop takes h7 comes to mind.
Because, I mean, if you take on b2, then you can even give the queen for a rook, because you have pawn e4, trapping the bishop on d3, so... Yeah, white goes on the offensive here, just as zyxon says. He takes the chance.
Maybe I like bishop takes h7 better, but this is also... I mean, it's the right idea, yeah? You have to attack now that the d4 pawn. Now you can't defend your pawns, then you need to attack. And he doesn't even take the free queen.
Yeah, he doesn't even bother looking at taking the free queen.
Guess he doesn't want to give a knight or something.
Yeah.
This looks...
I'm curious though. I mean, how bad is it to take on e2 here?
It possibly can't be bad. It's with check, and then you can do whatever you want. You don't need to do bishop h6.
So I mean, knight takes, probably knight takes, and can you even take on e6? Well, let's see. So this is surely much worse for black.
Knight here. It must be made. You take the rook with double check.
Take with check here.
Yep, up. I mean, there's no
king h8, you have rook h7, and the king has to go up the board, and it's...
Yeah, pawn at g3, bishop at g5. Yep. Yeah. GG. Nice finish. But he really should have taken the queen and then tried to place the queen somewhere.
Yeah, let's see how bad was it to take the queen. Because black is okay here. Most likely. He should have taken on f5. So actually this was the best move, taking on e6. And the computer doesn't like grabbing the queen.
Wow, okay, interesting. That's fascinating.
And here, pawn f7. And the problem is, king h8, you have knight g6. So you need to take on f7, and then you take with a knight, with a really, really nice attack. So, good idea there, spotted by JannLee.
Yeah, well played, JannLee, as usual.
So here, JannLee has a slightly different setup. He has...
he played h5 this game. I mean, I think Cabbage played this too slow. I like to play this setup myself with black, but the problem with this setup when you face this setup, the danger is that white plays e4 really fast. So when you play bishop d6 and knight g7, then white pushes e4 and that tempo you gave up costs too much. Here I think white has been a bit slow to play e4, so I'm thinking black is doing well here.
Yeah, h5 makes a lot of sense. Black has a clear target, the white king, and this strengthens the black center, and we'll see what happens here.
Bishop takes f3 is interesting. I mean, there's a lot to calculate afterwards.
Yeah, because d4 was hanging.
This is safer, but I wonder if he could... Bishop takes f3 was maybe really good.
So now the light squares are really weak. Also d4 is under pressure. And also the dark squares are weak.
Yeah, but the knight on e4 covers. At first I thought my instinct was that rook e1 is a horrible move, but then I realized that the knight covers f2 and something like queen b3 here is actually fully playable.
Yeah, we got a question here from the viewers who is co-casting. It's zyxon, my friends, aka Firefly. And I hope you're enjoying our stream. So g2 isn't the ideal spot for a knight when you're attacking, because even though it's close to the king, it's actually far away from the king, because it takes quite a few moves to get around this knight to attacking the white king.
But here it has some merit, because it can go to f4 next move, and
yes.
it helps cover the e3 square, so that pawn at e3 or bishop at e3 become...
Yeah, so g2 is really just a stepping stone here. You either want to pick up the rook or go to f4, and
so here bishop at e3, and then pawn at after pawn at f2 take the rook, and he cannot, and then the g2 square is really weak.
Yeah, really nice idea here. Bishop e3 just to force white to put a pawn on f2, and then you can pick up the rook.
Yeah, but he can take with the knight defending g2, so maybe it wasn't so good. But it was an interesting factor.
Yeah. So obviously the pressure on the dark squares is building up here. And what about bishop f2? Do you play bishop e3 then, or what do you do?
I think you counter with pawn at g6 here. I think a passive defense here is not recommendable.
No, you need to do something here with white.
Yeah, and if he takes on g3, you can always play h takes g3, and you have a hole on h2 for your king.
So here you probably don't want to take f7, because white can check on g5 and then maybe take on g6 or whatever.
Yeah, and you can't go to d7 because, or you can, but it's very dangerous because then d5 comes. So king e7 or king f8 are the...
Yeah, you have to look out for this pawn push.
But here pawn at e5 is risky, because you'd think with the attack that black likes a queen trade, but actually white is faster. This is really surprising, because knight d5 now is...
Yeah, knight d5 looks safe enough. Maybe queen g5 check, pick up this pawn, but...
Maybe queen g5, bishop at f6, queen takes g6, then bishop at f5. Can you really play like that?
No, you cannot.
Doesn't seem likely.
Yeah, this queen expedition here is just like a one-man show. And let's see, black is already up on material, a piece, and black will probably pick up more material here pretty soon. So knight d5 looks like a very sensible move, gaining control over what's happening on the board.
Yeah. Yeah, this is, well, okay, you could... Yeah, this is wrong. But now queen g3... I wonder if pawn at f6 wasn't, or bishop at f6 wasn't stronger there. Because now with bishop at f5, he's going to take on g7, and it's
I was thinking maybe queen f8 then, because a queen trade would favor black for sure.
Yeah, it's starting to get a little bit scary with the d6 pawn being weak. This is probably smarter. Now bishop at f5 must be very strong.
Yeah.
You have to play bishop at e8 there, I feel. Maybe it still works. I think there's not enough stuff, you know. I think you missed an opportunity.
So this rook is defending g2, but
yeah,
the black attack is like one of those self-playing pianos. You don't even have to think about what to do here. There are so many good moves.
It's very safe. He's got like 5 pieces next to his king, defending squares around his king. Out of nowhere, he just found safety. Rook at f1 and knight at e2 is mate. Okay, that's not mate.
Yeah, there was a mate in 2. Rook here, knight here.
Yeah, but this is actually, I think, a kind of important thing. Once you're winning in a long series like this, you don't want to spend energy on being accurate. You don't care if you win in a perfect manner, as long as you know that the moves I make now will never lose the game. You just keep making moves and save energy for the next game.
Yeah. Because JannLee knew the moves he were making, they were winning as well.
Yeah, good enough. You know, you don't need to look for the fancy mates. You just...
Yeah, I think it was Paul Keres who once said, the chess-playing Estonian player, said, once you found a good move, you should be looking for an even better move, but that is not so true, maybe, when it comes to Crazy House and Bug House. If you see a good move...
It's especially not in long series like this, where energy matters so much, where all you need is to win. Doesn't matter how you do it, really,
yeah, if you see a...
win while not using up too much energy.
If you see a winning move, play it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I remember Peter Berthaud, one of the best Swedish bridge players, one of the world's best bridge players. He told me that once a slam is down in bridge, he stops thinking about what he's doing. Because once, not in pairs obviously, but because once the slam is down, the result of the rest of the match of the board doesn't matter so much.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same concept here.
Yeah, if we have any bridge players out there, Peter Berthaud is he's an old chess player actually.
He was part of my first Bughouse game. It was me, Mikael Stanley, Peter Strömberg at the time, Berthaud now, and Peter Bergström. Yeah. That was my first game of Bughouse 37 years ago.
And he even played in a Bughouse Swedish Championship finals back in 1995, was it?
Too long ago.
Yeah. So what do we have here? JannLee has the Black King in a vice, but the Black King is breaking through. Black picking up a pawn here, but yeah, I'm wondering if you should do take on g6 just so you can protect the bishop, or
bishop d6 makes a lot of sense, I think.
Yeah.
Putting up the c7 square. I imagine we'll see bishop at f6 now, and then or c7 is possible. Yeah, okay, and after knight a4 you take on d6 and you have a lot of pieces for the queen.
Yeah, so knight a4 you don't move the queen, you just simply take on d6. With a great position for black, I think.
Oh yeah, most likely.
So
yeah, he got away with it, Cabbage. I thought at some point this was just... can't play like this. Now when he played knight at c4, I thought white was very much in the driver's seat.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a good job here.
So white trying to make use of his better development, but it costs material to play like this.
Mm-hmm. Now probably using the queen on d6, right? Queen takes d6.
Excuse me?
Now you probably sack the queen, right? You take on d6 now with either the bishop or the queen.
Yeah. So the question is, do you take with the bishop or do you take with the queen on d6?
I don't think it's a huge difference either way.
No, I suppose not. Thank you so much, Play Lion Chess, for rating. And welcome, this is Crazy House.
Fine people. Welcome everyone.
Yeah. You're watching
the Crazy House World Championship Candidates Tournament with one of the main favorites, JannLee, in the lead with 3-1. And yeah, welcome everyone to the stream.
So what do you think about the position? Looks very interesting, I think.
I like black for bishop at h6 here.
Yeah.
This I think was unnecessary to allow knight takes, but I guess he has a plan with this.
I was also thinking bishop h6, but he wanted to provoke the knight capture, maybe.
Definitely. Why, I'm not sure, but okay. Maybe it's good, yeah. If you now back the knight to h5, you put the knight on e8, and you just pick up the pawn. So JannLee doesn't allow that. Now you take on f6 here, then d5 is hanging. Okay.
Yeah, and you do not take here on e6 because of pawn g7, I suspect.
You can do that too, actually. Maybe that's even... But it's risky, yeah?
Yeah, it's a bit riskier.
It looks very scary. But it could be possible. F takes e6, pawn at g7, bishop takes f6.
He does indeed go for the riskier option. But here you have to tread...
Yeah, I think really bishop takes f6 is the only reasonable move here. Allowing the queen check, and maybe it's fine. Yeah? Looks very scary. But... I mean, if it's good, it's probably really good, right?
Yeah. So either this is super good or it's super bad. And it looks like the white queen is trapped in the corner. And I don't see... I mean, look at those bishops.
4 of them.
Yeah. Defending everything.
Yeah, but the question is, how weak are you after queen takes f6, king takes f6, bishop at c3? Pinning the knight, making sure white gets a knight for either g4 or
I'm pretty sure JannLee will take on f6, because what else is he going to do?
Yeah, that's of all the 4 bishops, that's probably the best one, right? So
yeah.
You should snap off.
And also it brings the king 1 row up the board, which it could be useful.